Signed Catherine caught in Sussex's trap. Harry's brutal act to wreak havoc on royal members. Harry's move reveals the seriously thorny problem facing the royal family. It should have been a huge week for Catherine and her royal in-laws, but it was all ruined by one brutal move by her brother-in-law. This should have been a wonderful week for the royal family. Buckingham Palace's remaining roster of frontline HRHs were out and about, charming the public and hugging some little babies, and generating some wonderful photogenic moments. Well, at least, that's what should have happened. Instead, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, comforting a grief-stricken mother, and King Charles reliving his coronation best moments have ended up as basically wallpaper. The week has been dominated by only one story. He's back. You would have to look pretty hard to find even a single person who doesn't know already that Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is waging a war against the British media, with it being the turn of the Mirror Group newspapers to be in his crosshairs. He claims that Mirror Group newspapers engage in unlawful information gathering and phone hacking, and they say, no, never happened. Now, of course, this week he showed up back in London to take the stand, and every journalist, everyone with a working Twitter account, and basically anyone with a good sense of outrage has ended up getting caught in the ensuing mess. Catherine who? Wait, what did the king do? Okay, so on Tuesday and Wednesday in London, Harry followed in the footsteps of his great-great-great-grandfather Edward VII to take the stand. He showed us that all that California air hadn't done anything to dampen his gift for hyperbole, claiming that the British government has hit rock bottom, and he also said that editors and journalists have blood on their hands. Well, all right, pretty interesting coming from a person who has admitted that he killed 25 Taliban fighters in his memoir that he published earlier this year. But anyway, as far as the UK media was concerned, there was only one royal story worth talking about, and it didn't have anything to do with Catherine doing some carrying in the vicinity of cameras, or Prince William opening a $130 million state-of-the-art cancer center, or the king wandering around the Romanian countryside for what he considered a vacation, or the 90-year-old Duchess of Kent undertaking her first official engagement in 5 years. Looking back, maybe the king should have just given everybody the week off and booked them on an all-inclusive vacation. The people in Fleet Street, after all, wouldn't have noticed until somebody saw all the unread newspapers crowding the Clarence House steps. Because unless Camilla had announced that she was done with being queen and decided to join an all-female monastic community, I'm not really sure that anything could have knocked Harry's self-appointed courtroom quest off the front page. And if this had just been a one-time thing, all right, but clearly it's not, and this is where there is a problem for Catherine and Charles and Camilla and William, and basically anybody who earns a paycheck as a working royal. As long as Harry, being driven by the self-righteous anger, the ghosts of his miserable teenage years, and too much coffee, is busy having these loud, expensive courtroom fights, the palace is in a difficult situation. And it's not because they're not doing some actual valuable work, because they are. They are engaging in some really important activism work right now. They are fighting the good fight for their various causes. But unfortunately, that is just not enough, because all this real hard work is bound to come second best in terms of public and media attention, when we've got Harry out there wielding his bunch of barristers and willing to spend millions on personal holy wars. It looks like as long as Harry's out there with all his perceived slights and all his complaints, the royal family's hard work and dedication is bound to be forgotten. So it looks like Catherine and William and Catherine's in-laws are stuck in a very precarious situation. Because seriously, what can the king really do? At this moment, I cannot imagine how upset the people of Buckingham Palace are with Harry's little courtroom fights. But at the same time, it doesn't look like there is much that the king can do to try to rein in his son. At this point, Meghan and Harry are responsible for making their own living. They have commercialized family hostility to the tune of tens of millions of dollars at least. Now their professional lives are dictated by whatever the cause of the day is that they fancy, and how fast one of their employees can put something out on their website, full of right-on adjectives and a bit of empowerment speak as well. In March of this year, we found out that Charles insisted that Harry and Meghan return the keys to their UK home, Frogmore Cottage. There's been a lot of speculation as to why exactly King Charles ousted them. But anyway, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What we do know is that Harry's not going to be playing video games on the Windsor estate anytime soon. So it looks like the only move left for the king may be to take away Harry and Meghan's ducal titles. But putting pressure on them to stop using these titles, it could be a risky move. It could bring back the claims of unconscious racial bias, and it might make the king look overly punitive. But on the other hand, how can Charles and company just let this situation fester? Harry and Meghan are claimants in 7 cases. So it looks like this is a long way from being over. In fact, it may be years before these lawsuits come to an end. Years during which the royal family's good work could be largely passed over and ignored by a media and public that are addicted to the narcotic Harry show. The New York Times reported, people who know Harry say he did not expect when he brought the suits that they would take so many years. Well, I guess watching too many legal soaps can actually have some bad side effects, Harry. And then a friend of William and Catherine spoke with the Telegraph and said that their philosophy is, quote, heads down, focusing on the positive work and not being pulled into the drama for a while. Focus on the positives and not spend your time torn up. Well, all right, that's a great plan, but while William and Catherine have decided to just trudge on, they are unfortunately losing time to really shore up the monarchy and to complete its transition from a flag-waving to a future-shaping institution. So yes, a difficult situation indeed. There's only one smart move that Charles really has here. He can book early and save. He needs to figure out when Harry's next big courtroom appearance is going to happen, and then he just needs to leave town. Just imagine it, Queen Camilla sipping a pina colada by some luxurious pool, and King Charles, well, I don't really know what he would be doing, walking through some flower gardens, I guess. Who
And don't
knows?
be afraid
Maybe
to
a
click the
nice
subscribe
shot of
button to get
Camilla
more
wearing a
updates in the
bikini would
future.
be enough
Thank
to
you
knock
so much
Harry's
for
name
tuning
off the
in.
front
Have a
pages.
lovely weekend,
But
and
then
we'll be
again,
back to see
maybe
you all
not.
tomorrow.